Welcome back, folks. This is Shane. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some of the tones I've made using the Hotone Ampero II Stomp. This thing has completely surprised me. Now, when it comes to digital multi-effects processor pedals, they've all gotten to a point now where they all sound great, but sometimes they struggle either nailing a great clean tone, they can sound a little bit spiky or digital on the high end, some of the less expensive ones, or they're almost indistinguishable from reality if you mic up an amp. And I've really gone through and dialed in some really beautiful tones with this to the point where I would be absolutely happy recording with this in the studio, or if I'm overseas shooting some demos, this could be basically a replacement for the need of all the other equipment like loud amps, loud mics, cables, all that kind of stuff. It really does sound great. Now I'm recording this directly out into my iMac over here, and I'm recording the screen as well, so you can see a little bit about how I've got this set up. I'm going to run you through a selection of tones here, and then just talk about what I was thinking about sort of getting all of this working. So this first one is the ITB1. It's not the ITB band in your leg. It's the In the Blues preset number 1, which I've dialed in from a deluxe reverb. I'll show you a little bit more about this in a moment, but have a listen to this on my Telecaster. I dialed this in specifically for a Tele, but if you play a Les Paul or whatever, it's still going to sound great. Here we go. Now that's a deluxe reverb and a half right there. I'll show you the mic setup in a moment because this is one of the best things about it, but both pickups. The thing I noticed immediately with this, and I mentioned this on my first impressions video, was just how full the low end is. It's absolutely beautiful. So I would have no problems using that as my sort of starting clean tone. Now, let me show you what I've done over here. So on the amp section, I'm using the deluxe reverb. As you can see, that's where it's set, or the Black Deluxe as it's called. But on the cab over here, I'm using this Mix 3, which is essentially 2 microphones. It's a ribbon mic, and it's also the Shure SM57, which is almost my perfect combination. You know, I don't have a Royer 121, but I've got an AEA N22 ribbon microphone, and pairing that with the 57 is kind of special, and I think this really nails it. This second clean is on the same bank, and it gives you a little bit of delay and then just a little bit more reverb for a sort of more ambient sound. Here we go. Awesome. This last clean setting here gives us a compressor in this position on the top, and as you can see from the amp, there's the amp setting. Cab setting is still the same, Mix 3 again, just for consistency. There's the BBD delay S for stereo and some reverb. The biggest difference here is the dynamics or the compressor, and I love this. It's got that really sort of beautifully present clean tone. It's got really nice sustain as well, thanks to the compressor. Now, while that is taking away some of my dynamics, if I play soft, it really just absolutely sings. So I'm a big fan of that clean tone. And again, it's very simple. I haven't gone too overboard with all the effects, but if you want to, you can do that as well. But I like to start with just a really sort of classic or standard sort of clean. All right, let me show you some of these bluesy tones I've got dialed in. I really like these, and I've got a mix of unique overdrives in each position and then one that's stacked as well. So this would be my sort of like starting blues tone. that's kind of the tone you've probably heard on the channel a lot, whether you like it or not. It's kind of the sound I have in my head for traditional blues. And how I got this was basically using everything else the same as before, using a deluxe reverb, but also adding this TS-808, which is the legendary sort of mid-boost pedal, which I think sounds awesome. Now, if we go over to the next preset, in position of the 808, I've actually got the Super Drive, which adds a little bit more grit. It also sort of takes away that muffled high end that the Tube Screamer sound is known for. It sort of backs off a little bit of tops. And I would use this kind of like a blues or blues rock kind of sound. I think it sounds pretty nice. And that plays itself. I love it. I think that sounds really cool. Now, the third one on here incorporates not only the TS-808, but I'm also adding a clon boost. Now, interestingly enough, with this particular setup, I found the clon sounds better after the Tube Screamer, which is really interesting. So the Fawn Drive is the clon, and TS-808 is in this position. Now, the difference here is I've also added some delay, and the reverb is set up like this. Now the amp is still, as you can see, the deluxe and the cab, same thing as before. And I really like this combination. You can hear it sort of linger around. That's exactly what I wanted for cutting like lead parts. I think this is a really great tone. Now I've played with the clon and the Tube Screamer live for many years, and that is how it sounds. It sort of changes the overall end result in a positive way. Neck pickup. Beautiful. Now you can of course add a ping pong delay if that's what you want, all that kind of stuff, but that's how I've got it set up. I'm a big fan. This third line of presets are great if I'm playing a humbucker guitar or if I want a really sort of classic rock style sound. And I'm using on this one the Friedman amp and the Friedman cab. You can see the 412A. And over here on this one, I've used the V2 voicing with the C45 on. I found the fat switch a little too fat for this guitar in particular, and I've dialed this one in for humbuckers, but it will work with either of my guitars. And then I can go down to the reverb here, and you can see I'm using a small plate. I just think this one sounds cool. Have a listen to this. That's the sound. Kind of got that soft overtone like the amp, which is pretty wild. Now this second one's basically the same kind of setup again, except I've added more drive. So I haven't added any pedals, I've just used the amp configuration. I'm really shocked how that sounds and feels to play. I've owned Marshalls and all kinds of amps over the years, and I've played plenty, and that really captures the top end response. It's got this really great sort of soft edge to it. Yeah. This last lead preset incorporates all the stuff you've seen before, except now we've added some delay and this boost into the preamp. So I've got this micro boost set to 30. This is where the amp is set, so you can get a good look at that. The cab is exactly the same, but we have a little bit of delay, and this is where the reverb's set using small plate, and I love this sound. I think this is one of the best sort of high gain tones I've recorded in a while, but you be the judge. So again, this is the lead sound, the one before it, and the starting rhythm tone. I'm very impressed with this unit. I can't sort of, if you don't know the channel, I actually had this sent out about 2 years ago and I forgot to review it. I moved house, it kind of got misplaced for a while. And testing it now, I'm like, man, I wish I have tested this sooner. It's really good. So yeah, I highly advise checking out other people's videos on this kind of stuff, but I own a Kemper. The Kemper is back here. It's worth a lot more than this. And I could easily get away with using this for any sort of recording situation. It really sounds good. I don't think I'd use this live for my personal kind of stuff, but for doing YouTube or recording parts or jamming or getting great tones, all that kind of stuff, this would be an absolute no-brainer. I'd probably actually use this live with some of the delays and reverbs, maybe into an effects loop of an amplifier, but yeah, for doing what I do online and doing this kind of stuff, it's killer. It's absolutely killer. It feels great to play. It sounds awesome. And if you spend a little bit of time with this, you can really make it work. Now, I have the sounds in my head that I like, and so finding that was relatively easy. If you don't know what kind of sound you like, start with one of the presets and modify it from there until you get something that suits your guitar and ear, and then you'll start to appreciate your own sound. But these are the kind of tones that I go for. I love nice, clean Fender tones. I love the traditional kind of tube screamer kind of thing, or Boss kind of drive pedal. And then I also really love the high gain sort of Friedman or Marshall tones. I got a Marshall down here as well. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that tone. It's just very versatile. And if you keep it simple, you can really dial in something great. Or you can go crazy. It's got plenty of stuff in here I haven't even showcased. But this thing's really impressive. I would have no hesitations recommending it for someone who might not already have a multi-effects processor pedal. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let us know what you think. I hope you found this video helpful, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.